right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Crosshairs demo. Billy! I found this awesome picture of Billy in a book that I've got on Adventure Time, and I'm looking to make a picture of my own. Like, it's rad. Billy's rad. How am I going to make a picture of my own? And what's with those crosshairs on plastic drawing planes that Mr. Powell's always given to other students? Let's find out why we're using these things. All right, I'll give you a little demonstration. So if I've got this plastic drawing plane with crosshairs on it, what I'm really trying to do is just see the parts of this drawing as little puzzle pieces, really. When I look at this section of Billy, I'm trying to see all these little parts and how they fit together. If I can look at them properly, like looking at the sky, which is the area that I've darkened right here, then I can draw my picture more accurately because I'm looking at these things as lines and shapes, and I'm not worried about it being a drawing of Billy's hands or a sword. Another thing I got to use my viewfinders just so I can see how do I want this thing to look on my piece of paper, right? Like Billy's rad. The part that I want to focus on is where the crosshairs are. I got to get like his head and the sword in there because that's the raddest stuff. I'm not as worried about his feet being prominent. But then I'm figuring out how to set up my page. Again, since the crosshairs were up in that corner, my focus is over there up in that corner, then that's where I'm going to put the crosshairs on my piece of paper up there in that corner so that I can make this drawing. All right. So now this is a 45-minute drawing that I have compressed by speeding up the video down to 4 minutes approximately so that you can see how to work. Notice how I'm doing it, that I'm just going in to each section. I'm only working one section at a time. And as I work in that section, I'm starting with where the crosshairs meet, and then I'm adding all the shapes that I see further and further away from where the crosshairs meet. The point of this, ladies and gentlemen, is that those crosshairs are there to help me create some shapes that I can measure with, right? If I compare the size of these little shapes that I'm starting with where the crosshairs meet that are really obvious and interesting and specific, then I can use these shapes to measure out the shapes for other shapes that I see in the composition. And if I'm measuring them all correctly using those crosshairs and the previous shapes, I can end up with exactly the same drawing as what I've got. This is without having to do a block in, right? Like there's a whole other way to do it. Suppose you're trying to draw something that you don't have instructions for and you don't know how to block it in. Suppose you're looking at something out there in the real world. Maybe you want to take a picture of your grandma and the drawing from that picture of your grandma or Billy. Either way, if you're using the crosshairs properly as a measuring device, put down all those little pieces and they'll fit together like puzzle pieces, and you'll end up with an awesome drawing just the way you want it to be. This is the point of crosshairs and a viewfinder and these tools that we've got, ladies and gentlemen. You can draw stuff that you see more accurately if you look at the lines and the shapes as lines and shapes instead of looking at them as hands, because I'm not good at drawing hands. I know nobody's good at drawing hands, dude. Don't worry about it. Spend time drawing the lines and shapes that you see the way that you see them, and you can make an awesome drawing of anything that you want to draw because, again, like I've always been saying, you're tapping into your intuitive processor, your IP. You're not drawing things that have names on them. You're drawing all these weird little organic and geometric shapes, and that's helping you to listen to your intuitive processor, your intuition, and stop creating things out of your head, but drawing the things that you see, dude. Like Billy. Billy's rad. All right. I hope this has been informative. If you've got more questions about it, if you don't understand, ask me. I'm happy to help.